I think a lot of life comes down to trial and error. There's so many things out there, there's so much information, so much things to learn, so many things to do that in our lifetime, of the number of things we could possibly do and learn, I'm pretty sure we won't even get to half. So if you search something on the internet, it's probably like a billion search results on one particular topic. I used to fall into this kind of trap where I wanted to get my hands on it, on a billion pieces of information. I'll see a YouTuber post something and I'll try to watch all his videos because it feels productive. And guess where I'm going with this is procrastination. Knowledge feels easy when you don't have to take action on it. To try to combat that much information, I try to, if I'm learning, if at all, from YouTube or reading books, I try to read books that focus on general truth as opposed to people trying to share their perspectives on things because everybody is different. Somebody can say do A, but you might be in a situation where doing B is better. And doing A might not necessarily be wrong, but it might be wrong for you in that exact situation. So what I'm going with this is trying to develop good judgments. And judgment is basically knowledge or wisdom applied to the real world, your discernment. And how do you develop better judgments? I feel you do that by trial and error, taking action, being hands-on in the field. I feel like nothing will teach you more than being in the field itself. So, for example, let me use an analogy or a example to explain it better. If you wanted to learn how to play football, reading on football moves, reading on players, um, even seeing other people do the skills, might will help you to a degree, but to another degree, they won't help you. And the way this showed up for me was when I was trying to learn to play chess. I used to binge a lot of chess videos on how to improve at chess, how to what opening should I try, end game principles, middle game strategies, um, attacks you should be aware of, and that helped me a lot. That helped me improve a lot. But I think I found the most progress when I didn't even bother watching any videos or learning anything. I found the most progress when I was just playing chess, when I was just binging chess. I didn't even have to review the games. There was just a different kind of learning that occurred, kind of intrinsically. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I learned in a way that I can't even explain. I just knew what to do in that situation. I guess it's muscle memory or recognition or better judgment, whatever you decide to call it. But nothing will teach you more than being in the field, as Naval likes to call it. Life is lived in the arena. Action. I could also say take action. I could also say do the thing, etc. So there's only so many things you can even focus on if you wanted to. There's only so many things you can remember in a book. Like think of the last book you read. How many lines can you remember? Probably only, if you really sit down, probably only like 10. Think of a video you watched. How many things can you even remember? Probably like four. I don't know how many you remember, but probably not that much. Maybe it's a 20-minute video and you only remember like four lines from it. So yeah, I know it's easy to say, but I feel like it's very hard to do. Or because if it was easy to do, a lot of people would be doing it. More less of reading for reading's sake. But I know it feels very productive to read. Like, oh, I've read 50 books. But like if results are not showing, then action is the real issue. Like you could think of a book. Let me think of a random book off the top of my head. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's like a 300-page book that I read. But let me think of the lines I remember in the book. Smile. Everybody is my superior in some way. In that I learn from them. Uh, to people that the most important thing to them is their name. Um, Yeah, about three things, like about three things I can remember. But chances are, if you act on these three things and you don't read anything else, you see a lot more improvement than somebody who just reads book to read. And it sounds very obvious. Take action. Like I could just summarize this video. Take action. It's easier said than done. Like if you read a dating book on how to approach girls or how to approach people in general, and if you don't act on it, then somebody who watched your YouTube video, or somebody who got advice from a friend, and the friend said, just approach girls, will make more progress than somebody who read 5 books for reading's sake. And the reason I'm saying is because I was in that situation. I It felt very productive to read books. It felt very productive to watch videos. It felt very productive to sit in my room because it was comfortable to do all these things. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you don't take actions, you won't see any results. So, summary of this video: take action. Life is lived in the arena. Life will teach you more than any book that exists. Reading is very important. I feel like reading is very fundamental, but there's different ways to learn, and I think action has been the best for me. Taking action will teach you in more ways than any other method can provide you. Some of the other ways you can learn is by listening, by watching, by reading, by etc. But I feel like trial and error, taking action has been the best, has given me the best results. So if you have any experiences on this, I would like to hear in the comments. I see my videos getting a bit more traction lately. I like at least 10 views. So I know people are at least watching and resonating a little bit. So if you have anything to say, just let me know. And maybe you've been procrastinating in your life, you've not been taking action, and you could just tell me your experience down in the comments. Thank you. So, in this video, I talked a bit about general truths and how I like to read books or taking information that talks about general truths, because a lot of people say things based on their perspective, and it might not necessarily be wrong, but for you, it might be wrong because everyone is in a different situation. So, what works for person A won't work for person B. So, I want to give you a few examples. Like for wealth, a general truth is you will not get wealthy by trading your time for money because you run out of time. And there's only so many hours you have in the day, so you can't build wealth. Maybe you can get rich if you charge high enough on your time, but you cannot build it. You cannot build long-term wealth, which is what a lot of us are striving for. Let's say for dating, improving yourself is always going to be better than chasing. So attraction, building a let me put it this way: building a garden to attract butterflies will always be better, whether you're a man or a woman. So focus on yourself. For human nature, the most fundamental rule of human nature is people judge others based on their appearance. So do what you will with that information. So those are some examples of general truths I like to focus on. So those kind of books, that's why I really talk about Naval, because he talks about those general truths when he mentions this in his book called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. The first half is a guide to wealth, and the second half is a guide to happiness. So I really like the book, so I recommend it. Again, I'm recommending it for probably the fifth time on my channel. So do what you will with this information.